It back from Ebert and slams it high into the goal, and St. Louis leads 5-1. One of the great goals of the year. Watch the one-touch soccer by the St. Louis Steamers. Ebert to Petcher, and it's 6-1 St. Louis. Then Jeff Cacciatore with Norman Piper in goal after they pulled their regular goalkeeper. St. Louis gets goal number 7 of the night. And finishing out the scoring, Tim Walters from a Duran pass, an 8-2 final. The Steamers tie the series 1-1. Stand by for Game 3. It should be a great one from Kansas Coliseum in Wichita. I know defense has always been a hallmark of this team throughout the season, setting up the great offense we saw on Saturday night, and some defensive matchups very critical on the field here tonight.
Exactly, Bob, and I talked to Ty Keogh about that exact situation earlier this evening.
Well, I think Omar Gomez is the type of player you'd have to watch no matter where he is on the field. But the problem was that he was coming way into his own end to pick up the ball and then, picking up some momentum and coming in our defense and causing some problems. Actually, I'm more at home in the midfield, so they asked me to, pick him up when he was there in his own end. It caused a little bit of confusion towards, in our backfield, but we seemed to work it out, and it seemed to be pretty effective. The only problem is now with Jorgen Christensen possibly playing as well. They're both midfielders, and Gomez may move to the front, so we may have to change that.
Christensen did not play Game 1 a week ago because of an injury. In that game, Omar Gomez made a lot of long runs down the middle of the field, and it gave St. Louis some problems.
Very much so. As you mentioned, Christensen did not play, Bob, but to more than make up for that was the fact that Omar Gomez collected the ball deep in his own end. As Ty mentioned, he's so dangerous in doing that because they either lay the ball off, as you look at number 9, Omar Gomez, an Argentinian player. He can either lay the ball off when he's coming forward, those slicing runs, or he can make long through balls. And then after he does that, he comes forward to receive the return pass. So he's a very dangerous player, collecting the ball, then coming forward.
Jorgen Christensen, one of the most skilled players in the Major Indoor Soccer League. He can score goals and set them up as well. And he's a guy that St. Louis is very concerned about.
Very much so, Bob. He's broken every assist record imaginable for these Wichita Wings. A very adept, skilled Danish player. They look for him to be the last man to touch the ball before a goal will be scored. I think he's fit this evening, not quite as much as Gomez, but he'll still be making slicing runs also.
It shapes up as a great matchup. The winner goes to San Diego. The loser goes home. St. Louis and Wichita from the Kansas Coliseum. The opening kickoff and lineups coming up next.
He's preparing for tonight's game. He concluded the season second at his Otanto.
Bill, you and I talked about this before the game. I think it's obvious to everybody St. Louis has a definite edge in goal in a situation like this.
Very much so. As we take a look at the Wichita Wings keeper wearing number 1, Mike Dollar. I think so, Bob. I wholeheartedly agree with you. He is clearly one of the best keepers in the league on his line, as will Coach Dave Clements agree also, I'm sure. And they're very good at distribution. The only thing I mentioned to you as we were speaking, I think the only thing that Slobo has to show on some occasions is a bit more restraint coming off his line.
It'll be Don Ebert and Chris Cacciatore to kick it off for St. Louis. Bill Maxwell, the referee, at the top of your screen. And down to the left is Turos Kabrichin. St. Louis kicks it off. We're underway. Game 3. The game that will decide the quarterfinal winner in this playoff series. Wichita's been a pretty good penalty-killing team. There's a steal by Per Rundstedt. Goal!
Well, just like that, Bob Carpenter, a short-handed situation, number 3 for the Wichita Wings in his first year in the Major Indoor Soccer League. Per Rundstedt, former captain of Denmark's national side, puts the home side Wings on top by a score of 1-0. Let's watch exactly how the play developed.
He was across the red line when he shot it right there. It was a brilliant shot right along the boards, and Slobo could only watch. It's important for the goalkeeper, as soon as that ball clears the red line, he's got to get back in his net. They can't score from the other side or else it's offsides, but that time Slobo got caught.
And that was a very nicely hit ball by number 3, Per Rundstedt, Bob. Due to the fact that it was almost cut flush next to the board, he waited for the ball, as you mentioned, to cross that first line, hit it, and just curved it inside the side netting, and Slobo was caught way off his line.
I tell you, that's one way to get the crowd in the soccer game, and Dave Clemens has quickly called a timeout with his team.
7, Norman Piper, team captain for the Wichita Wings, one of the original Wings. Cuts the ball back on Steve Petcher. There's a sliding tackle. It was clearly a foul, Bob, but I don't think it warranted a 2-minute offense. But nonetheless, Steve is in the penalty box for the next 2 minutes.
Now a fan is going after Steve Petcher. A fan climbed into the penalty box. Petcher's been red-carded. Steve Petcher Petcher is out of the game when a fan went after him in the penalty box. I don't understand how they can make a call like that, Bill.
I don't know what's going on, Bob. We'll certainly find out.
A fan went after Steve Petcher, and when he retaliated, Toros Capriccian kicked him out of the game. I find it hard to believe that that could happen.
There you see Don Ebert, side heel, Sam Bick wanting to know exactly what's going on here.
I have never seen that happen.
So unfortunately for the Steamers now, one of their key players out of this game early on in the first quarter.
Let's just hope nobody else argues who gets kicked out here.
Manny Schwartz came over almost immediately. He is the acting captain for the Steamers. You see Manny there. There's Dave Clements alongside his Redmond Lane.
I don't understand how you can red card a player when he's provoked by a fan. I have to doubt that Steve Petcher went into the penalty box looking for a fan with dozens of them sitting around the box. They're going to kick the fan out of the game as well, but it's much more costly to St. Louis.
Very much so. As we were talking about earlier on, Bob, you certainly like to see the loyalty of the fans, shouting, screaming. But when things of this nature occur, you certainly don't need that to creep into the game. You look at number 9, Omar Gomez from the Wichita Wings, who, by the way, is still in the penalty box himself.
This is turning into a very difficult situation for the Steamers. They gave up a shorthanded goal, and now they've lost one of their best defenders, at least unless Toros Capriccian changes his mind for the rest of the game.
As you look at Tim Walters, he wants to know what's going on. As a matter of fact, Bob, I don't think too many people know exactly what's going on here themselves.
A couple of more fans are being kicked out of the game.
A few more fans taking an early exit from the Kansas Coliseum.
I tell you, Wichita trade a fan for a player anytime.
Manny Schwartz, as I mentioned, the acting captain, doing what he should do on this occasion, leading off the player, number 4, Steve Petcher. Situation, if that be at all possible, and get back to the manner of hand, which is winning this third and final quarterfinal match.
We'll take another timeout to give everybody a breather and a chance to cool off with a cold bud. 9:27 left in the first quarter of play. Wichita on a goal by Per Rodenfeld at 4:24, leading St. Louis 1-0. Gomez on the run, left side, Christensen in front, easy. Easy goal for Jeff Bourne.
Bob Carpenter, you or I could have put that ball in the back of the net. As we talked about at the outset of the show, the man may look to be the last player to touch the ball before a goal is scored. That's exactly what happened. Let's watch it again as the Wichita Wings get their second goal. There's Jurgen Christensen making a deep run from out of his own end. He's not going to shoot the ball. He dummies a shot, plays the ball to Jeff Bourne. The Steamers caught shorthanded already. Now caught shorthanded again, and due to the fact that Tony Belgium was caught upfield just a tad, there's Jeff Bourne left unmarked at the far post, and it's 2-0 for the Wichita Wings. The Steamers still shorthanded for the next 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
And it was a power play, obviously. 2:13 left in the penalty. Piper, Rodenfeld. Jim Rodenfeld, his second goal of the playoffs, and Wichita really has an advantage here.
They certainly do, Bob, and as we spoke about, knocking the ball around, just very calm, very easy. Let's watch the third goal of the evening for the Wichita Wings, scored by that man, number 11, with Kim Runfeld. Armin Piper laying the ball off to Kim Runfeld, running up from the right back position, the point position. He spins it with the inside of his right foot. You'll watch the flight of the ball here as Runfeld hits it the inside of his right foot, spins it away from Slobo, who had cut the angle down sufficiently well enough, but it just spun behind behind him. And that's 3-0 for the home side Wichita Wings. Still 2 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in that penalty.
It could be a long first period for the St. Louis Steamers. In fact, if you were to ask Dave Clemens, he'd probably agree it already has been. Ronfed, the goal, the assist to Norman Piper. And Dave obviously unhappy about something. In the front of the goal to stop St. Louis's Redmond Lane. Steamers, their best scoring chance so far.
It was, Bob, as Don Ebert shielded the ball, left it for Redmond Lane, who wanted the crossover, took a shot at the near post. And as you spoke about, Mike Dollar immediately reacting to the situation, cutting it off at the near post.
Bill, a St. Louis goal here could be so big. There it is! Don Ebert right down the gap, and he got it from Redmond Lane. How about that, folks? St. Louis, a big psychological lift with 2:34 left, first period. And the Steamers are finally on the scoreboard.
Watch it again. Here's Ian Anderson, the master of this dead ball situation, and why teams in the Major Indoor Soccer League don't mark up against the Steamers in this particular situation. Let's watch it again. Ebert and Anderson have combined for, well into double figures for goals exactly that way. We just spoke about it a bit earlier. Carl Rose sending the ball to the site, to the space, Ebert to run onto it. That's exactly what the play happens there, Bob. Ian Anderson on the dead ball. We'll see Ebert open. He runs into the space. Don't worry about getting to the ball. It'll get there from the foot of number 8. Ian Anderson is so good at laying off these dead balls. Ebert simply runs onto it, and that's a goal for the Steamers.
It's Don Ebert's third goal in the playoffs. Ian Anderson gets his fourth assist on a brilliant St. Louis dead ball situation off the corner kick. Well, we'll see if the men in white can capitalize. That certainly is a big play in this game. You go into the second period down 3-0. It might take you a long time to score. A weak shot from Redmond Lane. Play on, says the referee, as Lane was knocked down. But it looked like it might have been a clean defensive play by Wichita's Terry Nickel.
That is Don Ebert's 27th career goal over the Wichita Wings, Bob. Made a living against that team alone.
Don Ebert said this is a business trip for St. Louis. Certainly not a vacation. He doesn't like this city. I don't think they like him much either. Here's Walters. Shooting! Oh, what a goal by Tim Walters. He completely beat Omar Gomez one-on-one. And it's a 3-2 soccer game.
Great work by the Indiana graduate, number 13, Tim Walters.
This is incredible one-on-one play. Watch him take. Well, he just cleans Omar Gomez's clock here. Not this one, but coming down, you'll see it. He gets up, Bill, off the ground, beats one man, and watch him take Gomez.
Sam Bick immediately laid the ball off for Tim Walters. Walters cutting around Gomez, putting it around the outside of him, and then shooting it. As soon as he got behind that last defender, shot it, made no mistake. Good work by number 13, Tim Walters.
Boy, you got to tip your hat to this St. Louis team. They were down 3-0. They had lost Steve Petcher to a red card on a very questionable call, and this team is showing great character right now. Walters for Sammy Bick in front. We have a foul. It's going to be against Wichita. And with a minute 15, everything is going St. Louis's way right now.
Quarter here alone.
Bourne trying to turn it back to you. Good play. Tony Glavin for Slobo.
Good job by the Steamers, number 22, Tony Glavin, to help out and get back on defense.
Well, they're having some problems with the fans here. We'll tell you about that. Glavin the shot. You don't want to hit it right to the keeper. You want to hit it off the boards there. Here's Omar Gomez. That's going to be the end of the first quarter. And as far as I'm concerned, Bill, this is a bonus situation for St. Louis. They got two great goals before the end of the quarter, and after 15 minutes of play, the Wichita Wings lead the St. Louis Steamers 3-2, but I have to be honest, we'll take it at this point. Get a red card as well.
Looks like they already have.
But the important thing for St. Louis, Steve Petcher out of the game, and I have to think that any team in the nation would sacrifice a couple of rowdy fans for one of the better defenders. And that man who we just saw, Bill McDermott, Roy Turner, cannot be too happy right now because his team gave up 2 goals when they were really in control of this game.
They were, Bob. There's a tasteful sign by some of the Wichita fans. First down wasn't too complimentary to them after the game. Let's get a look at the first quarter statistics. Wings out shooting the Steamers in that first quarter, 12-8. Slobo called upon to make 6 saves. At the other end, Mike Dollar making 4 saves. Blocked shots, 3 by the St. Louis defense, 2 by the Wings.
Well, this should be interesting. As you see the second quarter score, we're just underway. Anderson taking it away from Norman Piper. Here's Don Ebert. Ebert one-on-one against young Greg Willen. Lays it off for Carl Rose. Rose shooting! Oh, and a good save by Dollar. Look out! Slobo was ready to pick it up, and Carl Rose suddenly flicked it and almost gave one to Wichita. That would have been a disaster. Here's Ebert. Got a man in front. Cacciatore! It's a tie game. I'm glad Don Ebert can see those guys as good as I can from all the way up here, Bill. What a great goal, and we are tied at 3-3, and the Steamers are roaring back.
Well, as they did so often playing for SIU Edwardsville, Bob Carpenter, Cacciatore and Ebert combined very nicely for the equalizer. Here's Ebert chasing the ball down in the far corner. A good through ball by Sam Bick to get the ball there. Ebert, nowhere else to go with the ball, but to play it off the near boards. And there's Cacciatore getting in behind that last defender. Another good view of it. Jeff Cacciatore not giving up on the ball as it's laid across the face of the goal by number 9, Ebert. And Jeff Cacciatore, winner of the Steamers Budweiser Most Valuable Player Award. So the former 2 teammates of SIU combined for the equalizer.
Pretty good play by the Wichita goalkeeper. They got a man on the right wing. Horn didn't see him. Now he does. Here he comes. Willen shooting. The rebound.
Jeff Horn records his second of the evening. He's been a real thorn in the side of the St. Louis Steamers. He scored 3 goals here last Tuesday night, 2 of which were in the waning moments of the game. There's the keeper, Slobo, obviously despondent after making a splendid save on the first play. As we watch number 21, Jeff Bourne, watching the bench. Here's Greg Willen. He takes a shot, and Slobo down, cutting the angle off. Just hits it with the outside of his right foot hand. It rebounds to Willen, who lays it off to Bourne. And there's Bourne, once again, the pesky Bourne, unmarked. He puts it just beyond the foot of Sam Beck. Here's the play developing again, started by Jeff Bourne. He gives it to Willen, fakes it. Slobo covers up at the near post. It rebounds off Carl Rose. Willen doing the smart thing, laying it off to Bourne, and he makes no mistake for the Wings' 5th goal of the evening, Bob Carpenter.
It's Jeff Bourne's 2nd of the night, his 5th of the playoffs. A great assist there by Greg Willen. It's over. He's being provoked by a fan.
Well, I really can't make any comment on that right now. That's something we'll worry about later on. I'm sorry.
Coach, your team showed a lot of character coming back. It was a very tough situation. Down by a man and for 5 minutes, and they got a couple of goals.
Yeah, you know, we fought them 3 goals to start with. It makes life a little bit tough, but we played some very good stuff. We got a little bit ragged towards the latter part of the half, which is not good for us, and we gave up another couple of goals, which may be very important goals as we go along. You know, the fact that the crowd are so pumped up here that they're coming over the walls makes it a little difficult, but if we're going to go anywhere, we've got to settle ourselves down and get back into what we did there very well for a short spell and play some good soccer. So it's important that we contain ourselves and, you know, keep ourselves calm.
As you mentioned, Dave, the fans here are literally coming over the walls, but as you talked about, to be successful tonight, we have to implement the team discipline and go with that from the outset. And in the second quarter, it seems that the team had really risen above the adversity and played quite well.
Oh, yeah, that's what we have to do now. I've got to go back in there and remind them of what's good for us. And it's good for us that we play soccer because that's our strength. And I think we're settling down to it now. We overcommitted a couple of times there towards the end of the second period to give them a couple of, you know, relatively easy goals. It's important now that we go back in and peg 1 goal back at a time. That's what we'll be looking to do.
Dave, thank you for joining us here at halftime, and best of luck in the second half.
Okay, thank you.
John Ebert and Schwartz both almost got up into the stands.
Well, what happened, Bob? This simply coming from out of nowhere. As soon as the Steamers players got back to their bench, it started almost instantaneously again.
And we saw a fan do something and then run up the stairs and out the entryway. If the police want to come up, I'll be happy to describe them for them.
Well, perhaps we can show them an instant replay from the truck.
I'll tell you. I like great fans, but this is going a little too far.
Carlos Fabrician talking over now with...
They might put Roy Turner on the PA here and have him talk to the fans. I think that's what they're going to do. And that's not a bad idea. They probably should have done it before.
There you see the former player for the Dallas Tornadoes, now the coach of the Wings.
Ladies and gentlemen, please I beg you. We are the classiest organization in the league. Anything that's to be done, let it go on the field. Please keep out of the game completely.
Well, Bob, all I have to say about that is the mere fact that he had to say it is unfortunate.
I apologize to the St. Louis Steamers for that lunatic who just came down there. I really do.
I'm afraid it went in. Watch this play by number 11, Kim Runfed, who heads the ball, just bounding about, loose from a scrimmage. I don't know why Slobo should have went back and caught it. He thought it was going to hit the glass, and he just let it go.
He gave up on it, Bob, and there the ball goes, just inside that near post.
Well, that is disheartening to say the least. That's the second time that one of the Rodenfeld brothers has scored a goal from way down the field over the top of Slobo. Cacciatore off the boards in front. Ebert, a shot, he scores! Don Ebert and Tony Bellinger. Bellinger, he won't show up in the statistics, but Tony did a great job of shielding the defensive man so that Don Ebert could slap it home.
Don Ebert gets his fourth of the playoffs and second of the evening. Let's watch how the play develops again. Here's Jeff Cacciatore laying the ball off the near boards. The ball skirts loose from the foot of Tony Bellinger, and there is Don Ebert left unmarked at the penalty spot. Here's perhaps a better view. There's Cacciatore using the boards, his only option at that particular time. Goes over the foot of Tony Bellinger. Mike Dowler comes out, but a bit too late, and Don Ebert slots it in the back very nicely.
Neil Cohen steps in, intercepts, Ebert, a goal! Oh, Neil Cohen right from the bench, and it's a one-goal game.
Beautiful work by Neil Cohen. As you mentioned, he came off the bench, and what a lovely goal by Don Ebert. Let's watch the play again. Number 18, it all started when Neil Cohen came off the bench. Here's Norman Piper, going to lay the ball off the Jurgen Christensen, alertly reacting to the play. This is the wily veteran, Neil Cohen. Now watch Ebert pull the top of the ball here. Pulls it back, receives it to his own advantage, and then sees Dowler coming out at his feet, just spins it over the top of his head. 6-5 in favor of the Wings.
St. Louis with two straight goals. They're looking for the side. Look at this! A shot at a goal! Tim Walters as Tony Glavin went end-to-end for the equalizer. Can you believe Tony Glavin?
What a run by number 22, Tony Glavin, as he took on a solo dash, a maze of his own making. Did number 22, Tony Glavin. He laid it off to Walters. This is a magnificent play, a goal anywhere in the world. Watch number 22 take on one, two, about to take on a third defender, doesn't decide to do so, then lays it off to the unmarked Tim Walters. That's an equalizer for the Steamers, and that is it, Bob Carpenter. This team, I assure you, the Wichita Wings will not rebound from this.
All right. I'd rather see Slobo keep it in play, though, with 13 seconds left. For goodness sakes, no goals here. Let's go to the fourth quarter even and take our chances on the road. I can't get over the fighting spirit of this St. Louis team. Just incredible. I tell you, some players would have folded it up and probably phoned in the rest of this game.
They would have sent it in on tape. The Steamers decided not to do so. We were behind once by a score of 3-0, then behind by a score of 5-3. Now it's equalized at 6 each.
8 seconds left. They play it in. Rodenfeld laying it off. Chapman a shot. Rodenfeld blocked it. 1 second left. That'll do it. Goodness gracious. We're headed to the fourth quarter. Tied. Beats his man. 2-on-1. Jeff Bourne. Bourne. A shot! He scores! That guy does it every time St. Louis gets momentum. Let's check it. It was Tim Rodenfeld. Or was it Jeff Bourne? It was Jeff Bourne. Rodenfeld there to congratulate him. Well, it was Andy Chapman and Jeff Bourne and Rodenfeld all on the break. It doesn't make much difference. Man, oh man. Every time the Steamers get the momentum, Wichita gets it back. This is a great shot.
Exactly. Watch Andy Chapman spin this ball with the inside of his right foot. The only place he could have put it, Bob. Slobo came down at the near post. Now let's watch it again. Chapman now puts it onto his more comfortable right foot, spins it with the inside of his right instep. There you can see it.
and just to lose the diving Slobo, who came down at the near post. Nicely played ball by Chapman. That's the only place you could have put that, Bob.
He placed it perfectly. It is Chapman's second goal of the playoffs. We'd all like to forget his last one, which won game one. Time to goal, 122. Piper on the assist, and Neil Cohen's going to get a yellow card. And I believe maybe Jeff Bourne is as well. Omar Gomez, a man open in front. Tony Pesnecker. Boy, you could see that coming.
Well, it's just a few moments ago, Tony Glavin made a splendid solo run, so also now does number 9 for the Wichita Wings, Omar Gomez. He lays the ball off to Tony Pesnecker. Here once again is the go-ahead goal. This is the end result of the run by number 9, Omar Gomez. He simply uses the boards to get his own pass, lays it off to Pesnecker. There's Tony Bellinger. Just couldn't quite get back to mark up on Pesnecker. Let's watch the play again. Now here's Omar Gomez, where he's so dangerous, running all the way from his own end. Here he takes on Tim Walters. Takes him on, beats him. Now Ty Keogh jumps in. Gomez goes around him. Slobo coming off his line. He's the last defender, last man back. Gomez then lays the ball off square and gives it to Pesnecker. It's 8-6.
The Steamers are down by 2 again with 12:26 left. Left wing Gomez.
Omar Gomez really proving to be difficult for the St. Louis Steamers as he gets the Wings' 9th goal of the evening, most recently assisting on Pesnecker's 8th goal. Here's Per Runfed.
This is just great shooting right here, Bill.
Runfed lays it off to Gomez, and he threads the proverbial needle as he toes the ball past Slobo. Coming over to help on a defense is Tony Bellinger, and perhaps Tony running over to help on a defense obstructed Slobo's view. We'll get an idea if that occurred as we watch it from this angle. There's Runfed laying it off with the outside of his left foot to Gomez. He shoots the ball. I think Slobo's view is obstructed just a bit as Gomez towed it by him.
Anderson. Slobo at the point. Ebert in the side, and it's Cacciatore with the goal.
Great stuff by the Steamers. First of all, by number 8, Ian Anderson.
But it wasn't to be here in Wichita.